This is Super Yacht News with E. Sisman.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a nice day in Genoa. First yacht we've got to talk about today is Motor Yacht Nord. You remember the vessel was causing some stink in the US because of the sanctions on that vessel. The vessel was in Hong Kong. The Chinese basically said, or the SAR, the Special Administrative Region of which is Hong Kong, said they weren't going to enforce any sanctions because they weren't put on by the UN. Anyway, that vessel has now left Hong Kong. The destination in AIS is Cape Town in South Africa. I've plotted a chart here, which is the fastest way to get to South Africa from Hong Kong, but that vessel has left Hong Kong and is now apparently heading to South Africa. All right, so we'll move on to the next story. Motor Yacht Valarie, 85 meter or 278 foot yacht that has been in Barcelona since March, been arrested there in Barcelona because it's owned by Sergei Chemezov, allegedly, and he is the head guy of the Russian state aerospace and defense conglomerate Rostec. Now that vessel has been frozen, let's say, because they're not using the word arrested, and it's seized, certainly not seized. That vessel has been there since March, as I said, and the vessel has changed names, which is curious considering the vessel is supposedly under arrest by the authorities, right? The vessel has changed its name from Valarie to Meridian A. It's still in Barcelona, not moved, but that's a curious thing to happen on a vessel that is supposedly currently under the control of the authorities. We'll bring you more if we see any changes there. But the main story today, this is an interesting one, and this goes towards what we talked about recently about money being on the move. We talked about it in Germany with Dilbar and with Luna and with other vessels in Germany. Well, this story is from Reuters, and they talked about Spain and France have owners pay for yachts frozen under Russian sanctions. So Spain and France are accepting payments from the owners of yachts that have been frozen to pay for those vessels. Now I suspect, well, we'll get into the story and I'll tell you what I suspect. So it says that Spain and France have authorized the owners of super yachts frozen under sanctions against Russian businessmen to pay for the upkeep. And this is sources that have told Reuters. They've got different sources that have told them this. So in Spain, the majority of the owners of vessels that have been frozen there are paying their maintenance, crew, docking and insurance fees, a source with knowledge of the matter said. So the majority of them are still paying for those vessels. So obviously when an individual has been sanctioned, they're normally restricted from spending any money in those areas, and those companies or governments are legally prevented from accepting payments from them. But there is an exception in the law. The French and Spanish governments are saying that they've authorized the payments under EU and national legislation. So they've authorized to receive those payments even though those individuals are supposedly sanctioned. So Spain's finance ministry told Reuters that a 2014 law adopted after Russia's annexation of Crimea allows sanctioned individuals to make essential payments for the upkeep of assets. And the ministry did not confirm whether payments have been authorized though, but they clearly have. They're saying, well, we're defending the reason for that, but we're not going to confirm whether it's actually happening. So it sounds like it is happening, right? So but the funny thing is, in March, Spain's Prime Minister, Pedro Sanchez, vowed when announcing the freezing of one yacht in Spain to hit Putin's allies decisively and hard. But this sounds more like valet parking for your yacht, right? So I'll leave my yacht with you, I'll pay all the bills, you look after it for me, and then we'll pick it up when it's all over with. That's what it sounds like. In Spain, you remember we were in Tarragona in Spain recently, and the vessel Crescent was there in Tarragona Marina. Now, the company, the port management company, is called Osibar, and they said that the owners of two frozen yachts under sanctions in Spain and moored at its facilities in Tarragona and Mallorca, so that's Crescent and Lady Anastasia. You might remember Lady Anastasia because she was the one that the engineer tried to sink when he found out what was happening in Ukraine. Those two owners are making payments for the upkeep of those vessels. Now remember that officially Crescent is owned by Edward Kutenatov. He's also sanctioned now because he was at the time a non-sanctioned individual who was the straw owner, as they called it. Now in France, Alexei Kuzmichev, now you remember the story about his boats. He sued the French government in court over the freezing of his vessels, and he won one case, but he has confirmed that he is making all the payments for his 2 yachts. So it seems a little bit hypocritical, doesn't it, that they've supposedly taken these vessels from these owners, and yet they're allowing them to pay them. If you weren't clear on what was going to happen at the end of hostilities, I think you're very clear now that they have every intention of returning the yachts to the owners. At the beginning, they said they were going to take these vessels and sell them and then give the money to Ukraine to help them with what was going on, but that is clearly not happening. Now, I also believe that Germany is doing the same. We've already had multiple sources tell us that money is again moving in Germany. We've seen Dilbar be reassembled and moved to a dry dock in Bremen, where work is most likely being carried out. No reason to put it in a dry dock unless you're continuing to work on that vessel. If you want to store it, it can sit in the water, right? So Germany, I would most definitely put Germany on that list with France and Spain. The only country that seems to not be doing that currently is Italy. But we'll see what happens anyway with this new Prime Minister in Italy. All right, guys, that's all I've got for today. I've got one last thing, and this is not a story, but this is about Patreon. We have launched our own Patreon page. This is something that we've been developing for a while, and we've put some extra videos on there, some small snippets from the Monaco Yacht Show and various different places, marinas that we've been traveling to. And basically it's a way to support the channel. If you're interested in doing that, head over. We've put a link in the description below, and we'll put one up the top here. You can head over and check it out. Like I said, there's exclusive stuff on there that's not going to be on the YouTube channel. You'll also get early access to features before they become live on YouTube, and they will be advert free for a 48-hour period when they're posted on Patreon. So if you're interested in joining our yacht club, if you like, then head over to Patreon. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks very much for watching. If you've got any information about any of these stories or any other stories, please get in touch by going to the About page on the YouTube channel. You can get us on Facebook, you can get us on Instagram, and you can get us on Threema. Be sure to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell for future notifications. Thanks very much, and bye-bye.